Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's Wargame World with a lot of happy news. All right, happy news is I need first to say my wife was in the hospital. She had a procedure. Um, Everything is great. It got a little scary Friday and all, but everything is perfect. Home resting and recovering, all is going to be good. And I need to say thank you to so many historians, war gamers, and friends, especially the guys, the chuckleheads. Walt, Kevin, Colonel Handsome, as we call him, Mike, Joseph, Derek. So, and everyone that wrote nice notes from Facebook and on. Um, so, my my Zulu War book, game, and Goober calendar. I'm sorry I didn't get to post the video for that because I had to run to the hospital Friday with the wife. So our winners, I have my sheet over here. Sorry. Okay. Eric Turner got the book With His Face to the Foe by Ian Knight, famous author and historian of the Anglo-Zulu War. So that goes to Eric Turner. Professor Patrick Bratton gets a Goober calendar. And our Zulu War game goes to Terry Jenkins. And I hope it was okay to use everyone's last name. So anyhow, in the next week or so, I'll get those three items out in the mail. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm working on. And I'm in a really good mood. My wife is resting. I do have the thing where she can zip down and call me if she needs me. But right now, we're going to do some relaxation time and prepare for Battle of the Bulge. Well, welcome back. I also need to say thank you to everyone at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. They were wonderful. Got my wife in and took care of everything really, really well. It's amazing. Hospitals don't keep you for a long time, even after operations and stuff. Something I didn't realize. So, enough of the hospital stuff. Let's go over what we're working on. All right, I got a very inexpensive $10 bag of 54 millimeter figures from Mr. John a while back. There's sort of an interesting figure. You got some BAR men, some Bazooka men. I'm not sure if they're a Korean knockoff or what they are. The bottom of the bases had no information on them. I think they may be old bootleg Marx figures. And there's one particular figure. I think he's an old Marx figure. So I've spray painted these earlier in the week. So now we're going to just simply do hands, faces, brown and black on weapons. We're going to do a brown on a khaki on the ammunition bandoleros and belts. Then we're going to dunk them in the black wash. And that's it. And then we'll put flocking on the bases. We're going to do as bare bones as possible to get these figures up and running. Now, the tanks. I got everybody's list of tank names. Sitting in the hospital, I had a lot of downtime. And start off with, I have a half a dozen of these without tracks. And I have tracks on order. Believe it or not, there's a website that sells nothing but tank tracks in every kind of scale you can imagine. They should be here in the next few days. So the half a dozen $5 tanks I found on eBay will get tracks. As far as names, I got a batch of names. I think I got over 50 names on the list. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna have some fun with the list of names. We'll I'm gonna just pick them randomly. I do know we're gonna name one Jerry after Jerry Lanigan, the great wargamer and historian and professor teacher that passed away a year ago and a half now. So I'm in a really perky mood because my wife is doing really good after several weeks of health issues. And this coming Saturday, I'll be able to wargame with the Chuckleheads. Alright, I'm going to turn off the camera and start it up again. Alright, so let's see about getting the camera down here. And I know this sounds odd. I don't know who's going to watch all of this, but we're just going to do some simple, fast painting. And the whole idea here is I'm going to simply, I gotta find a better brush, but all I'm doing is I want these figures on the table. Now these aren't coming to a wargame convention, so they're not going to be scrutinized or anything like that. So all I'm doing is a little hand flesh, face flesh, and absolutely nothing fancy. And then I'm putting them over here. Now, as we chit-chat, this is going to be a chit-chat video. You know, I sat in a hospital and get a lot of time to think, and you know, it's a lot of different things going on, and how lucky I am to have so many wargaming friends that supported my channel. Of course, you know, it's an interesting world, but you know, wargaming a lot in 54mm is different. There was a time that 54 was the big scale. So as I just chit chat, one of the coolest things is meeting up and hearing comments from different people on my channel that they're still wargaming in 54. I've had several people from Scotland, Denmark, and Australia write to me that they're wargaming in 54 still. And then Ron Perlman, the Pretzel King, who's quite a famous miniature wargamer, featured on Little Wars TV and with David Good on his Alamo rules. His group is playing bolt action in 54. And I'm hoping now that my wife is feeling better, I can go and join a game with them. You know, I haven't been able to go out, do much due to my wife's health issues, which finally we think we have made some big strides on that. These figures are interesting. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is my poor painting skills. And that's due to the fact that I have beginnings of macular degeneration, they say. And I take some medicine, but a lot of times I send figures to Jim Shaw. But for these, we are just doing a fast paint. Alright, now I've really jabbered. I'm in a great mood. Things have turned around for home life. I'm going to turn off the camera, and I'm going to come back to y'all when I have these figures more or less done. The biggest thing you'll notice is when I put them in the black wash, how that black wash will seep into the crevices and really make them jump out more. Alright, Hey, come back in about an hour or two. Let's see how we look. Well, welcome back, everyone. I've painted hands and faces as quickly as I could. Nothing fancy now. The whole idea is just to throw some paint on these and to get them looking good enough for 54mm wargaming in Bill's basement. And maybe someday at the Chuckleheads. So we have painted up 45 figures in less than an hour of hands and faces. My next project is I'm just going to hit the wood on the rifles, and I'm just going to go through and zap that off. Now I know the first figure I started with is the driest. So the plan is to paint the first figure, changing the camera angle a little bit. There we go. So we're just going to take our trusty paintbrush and just hit this M1 Grand with some paint. And we're not really going to be doing this in the sense of, oh, like a bolt action figure, or you got to remember that these type of figures really were very rarely painted when they were played with. Now, during H.G. Wells' time, 54mm were pre-painted most of the time from Britons. So there we have just a little bit of wood thrown on there, and the plan will be I'm going to hit all the wood here, and then we're going to do the black, and then the bazookas, and a little bit more here and there with the khaki colored for the web gear, and then we're going to dip them in the black wash. So I'm watching Kelly's Heroes right now, and we'll come back in another hour or so. Hello, everyone. All right, now once again, I'm painting these just to get a little bit of color on them. They're not meant to be perfect, okay? So I have painted rifle brown, black on some bazookas, nothing fancy again. All right, and with my eyesight issues, I'm actually quite happy. My eyes are not bothering me. I'm doing really good on this. Quite often I'll just spray paint the main color and take the figures to Jim Shaw. But we are trying to do this. This is going to be the last color I'm using. It's sort of a khaki color. And I'm going to just hit a little bit of the web gear, canteens and stuff. And then we're going to dip them in the black 50% water and black paint to give some shading. After that, I'll spray paint them with a sealant, and then we will be doing the flocking. I'm actually trying to hope to have these 45 figures done by the end of tonight. Of course, I have to go check on the wife. So, it's been a real interesting few weeks with my lovely bride. We'll be married 3 years this November 14th. We had the French Indian War wedding and all, but we've had a pretty rough couple weeks with her health, and I had a lot of support from friends and family and the Chucklehead Wargaming group. I'm very, very fortunate. So what I've done is I just threw a little khaki on there just to give some color. Now, our traditionalist wargamers, every wargamer is an awesome wargamer. And there are wargamers that will paint to the, to make these museum diorama level figures. I am not doing that, okay? First of all, these figures will be used in the Battle of the Bulge game. You may not see action again for quite a while. So all I'm doing is throwing a little bit of brown on these guys here and there, a little khaki, and they're going to be good enough. When I dip these in that black paint, it's amazing how much that changes them in the wash. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the final color of khaki brown on some of the web gear, and then we'll look at spray painting them. We are at Kelly's Heroes. We are at the part where Big Joe is being talked into going for the gold. Hey, welcome back. Still watching Kelly's Heroes. We are now, well, I know anyone watching this video for the most part has seen Kelly's Heroes. So we've thrown a little bit of khaki on our troops. We've just thrown it on. And Donald Sutherland's about to say no negative thoughts, no negative waves. They're heading over a railroad bridge. Alright, so this is just enough paint for a Bill's Basement Battle, the Bulge game. I needed more infantry. Doing this as fast and fun as possible. And didn't send them to Jim Shaw. Alright. Can't have negative waves, everyone. And, you know, all the stress I've had with my wife and all, it's really nice and relaxing today. So now we're going to dip all of these in my black wash. And we'll come back to that. And, you know, I'm hoping to have these done by the time Kelly's Heroes is over. Okay, everyone. Well, look at this. We have dipped them in the black wash. We're now setting them outside to dry. And then we're going to hit them with flat spray paint. And hopefully I'll have enough daylight to get that done. So, this is where we're at. Coming along. And you notice how the black paint seeps into the creeps and crevices of our figures. It gives it depth, and it makes up for my lack of painting skills. Alright, we'll stop the camera here. I'll put these outside. We'll come back in an hour or so. Okay, everyone, here we are outside because we've just spray painted our figures with a flat satin spray paint, polyurethane, and real quick, it smells really bad, so of course spray paints can't be used inside unless you want to be single. Also, harmful smells from paint. Alright, so this is the next step. We're going to let these dry for about an hour, bring them in, and we're going to flock the bases. So our 45-man unit that we are speed painting for the Battle of the Bulge video is really coming along. And once again, these figures are not painted to be 100% super awesome. They're just good enough to get on the table with a little color. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let's see how they look in the next step. Wow, in between working on the figures, I'm also making chicken broth soup, homemade for the wife. So we have celery, carrots, onions, and I'm getting ready to cut up the chicken. So yes, as we work on our Battle of the Bulge figures, we are also working on multitasking, making chicken soup to keep the wife happy and healthy. Okay, everyone, as my chicken soup for Lisa is simmering and she is resting, this has been an all-day project, by the way. We have our flocking material, our green paint, mixed with Elmer's glue and water. Let me shake this up a bit. So this is my flocking process that I've done many times in many videos. So we're going to paint our figure, and then we'll put our figure, our base of our figure gets painted, and then we put our figure, grab a paintbrush here. We're going to use this one for now. Let's see how it works. So So my wife is doing well, and I got chicken soup on, and it's really quite amazing with modern medicine world how fast things can get healed. And so we've placed our flocky material on our poker chip, and we set it over there. So we have a bazooka man. Now he's not perfect, okay, but for Bill's basement world and everything else, I could have drove to Gettysburg an hour and a half, asked Jim Shaw, but for what I needed on these, this is fine. And I'm very happy. And you know what? My eyes, I didn't get a headache and I didn't get double vision. So, but I also broke this up over the entire several hours. I had Battle of the Bulge going on. I had Kelly's Heroes. Now, the Battle of the Bulge game, Martin Knight from England's written up some scenarios. I am going to do the giant tank battle. The giant tank battle is going to be done, and Walt Leach of the Chuckleheads has a few 54mm Shermans. I'm not going to keep buying 54mm Shermans because I'll never need as many ever again. And I got 12 now. So we'll have a giant tank battle. And I think it'll be a real fun video that 54mm Shermans and Tigers, and I'll have a lot of rolling hills. And unlike the Battle of the Bulge movie, everyone, I'm going to have snow. So it won't look like the tanks are fighting in Tunisia. Come on, laugh. So, it's a interesting world. And I looked up the Battle of the Bulge movie's rating, and of course, many people despise it for all kinds of reasons. But on the one movie rating guide, it's a 6.9, and The Longest Day is a 7.1. I mean, now there's really no comparison between the two. So I'm quite amazed at that. And if you're wondering, I'm letting this camera run because I highly doubt very many people are watching, but me babble. But the nice thing is, if someone is watching, this money from this YouTube month is going to the Gloucester Museum of History in Gloucester, Virginia. And for some reason, I'm doing much better on viewers than I did last month. So, I don't know, switching over to the Battle of the Bulge has got more people watching. And I just appreciate anyone that's watching. And I hope everyone's considering going over to the Bill's History World with Goober the Bear, because I'm really getting some good videos on some good historic sites that aren't seen so much. Now I'm going to try to work with more historians like Park Ranger Robert Ambrose, who knows a lot about the American Civil War in that part of the area, and maybe even Scott Mingus, famous author and historian. I doubt I could get time with Scott Mingus. He's constantly on the road doing lectures. But maybe Robert Ambrose will be free sometime this January or February for him to, I don't know, if I buy him lunch, spend the day with him. So, and get some battlefield video coverage with a historian like Robert. He was also one of the key figures in having me switch from reenacting and to making YouTube videos to promote history. I know I don't have necessarily a million viewers, or 5,000 viewers or subscribers like, oh, Chris at VA Travels. But one of the things I'm at least trying, and every once in a while I will get an email or a message from someone, just like I did for the Winchester, Virginia Stonewall Confederate Cemetery. I had a person named Kevin who wrote to me, and he's never seen his great-great-grandfather's grave, but he is buried in that cemetery. The Kevin person's from South Carolina, and he is very happy that I did that video for people that may have some long-distance relative who passed away over 160 years ago, roughly. So, we are almost done with this platoon. What do you think of that? So, I'm really happy with how these turned out. They're good enough for the battlefield that I'm going to use them on. And for those of you with bags of plastics, this is the way to paint quickly. Now, of course, you got to make sure you're also washing your figures off. And armies and plastic figures are really nice, but they seem to use an extra heavy release agent. So I gotta say, if you're using army and plastic figures, make sure you wash them extra good. I've even used OxyClean stuff besides Dawn dishwashing with them, because whatever they put in for their release mode agent is very, very thick, and it's very hard to get even the Krylon paint to stay without coming off. So, I'm going to pause the camera here, and we'll finish it up. Well, everyone, between making chicken soup for the wife, checking on her multiple times throughout the day, I don't know how long it took to make this 45-man platoon. Okay, they're not perfect. And no, there's not a lot of detail. But you know what? In my world, I roll dice, move a lot of figures around, and have a good time. And I'm happy with these. If I want a little bit more detail, of course, I would have the great Jim Shaw of Gettysburg work on them. But these are for the Battle of the Bulge game. I needed them quickly. And I also needed to relieve some stress, and my eyes didn't hurt. I think due to the fact that I was doing other things all day long. In between, I watched Battle of the Bulge, Kelly's Heroes, and Battleground while working on these at the same time of doing laundry and making chicken soup for my wife. All right, so I'm going to close this out. Of course, we have our winners of our book, game, and calendar. Patrick Bratton won the calendar. Eric Turner won the Ian Knight Zulu War book. And, all right, the Horns of Buffalo goes to somebody, Jenkins. I think it's a Tim Jenkins person. And I was off of work on and off throughout this month, and taking tomorrow off too. I work for a company called General Mills, basically the Cheerios company. And my boss and my company has been wonderful with the issues I've had to deal with my wife and the hospital visits. And we've had a really tough month. And I gotta say, General Mills and my supervisor have both been wonderful dealing with all of this. So we are on the road of super recovery. I believe December 2nd, we're going to go to Gloucester, Virginia for the big Christmas festival And Goober the Traveling Bear will be with us. And, you know, I often say life is short, laugh at Goober and everything. And I tell you, it really, you know, there's times you really just have to laugh and enjoy life. And other than that, I'm going to close this out with my unit is ready for the Battle of the Bulge. Our next project will be to label the tanks and get the tracks on them. And we'll be ready for scenarios for Battle of the Bulge. Stay safe, everyone. Be kind, be courteous, and thank you for watching. Have a great day or a great evening.